Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Today we're talking fragrance collections, specifically essentials for your fragrance collection. So the different types of fragrances that you need for your collection, the different types of fragrances that you would wear for different situations. If you follow my blueprint, you will have the supreme fragrance collection of your friend group. And if you have no friends, I'm your friend. Now, at the end of the day, of course, you don't really need all of this, right? I mean, you could be completely happy with one single fragrance that you wear for every single occasion. And if that's what makes you happy and that works for you, just do that. But that would be kind of a boring video. If it was just like, I don't know, man, wear like Dracar Noir. Just wear it everywhere, always. It's good advice though. All the fragrances that I talked to you about here today are gonna be linked in the description below. Let's get started. What is the first type of fragrance that you need for your collection? Well, an office fragrance, a work fragrance, something that has a nice classy aspect to it that still is extremely mass appealing. Something like Prada L'Homme. That being said, it doesn't need to be Prada L'Homme. It can just be something that follows this idea. So like I said, something classy, typically something that's gonna be on the cleaner side of things, something that's not divisive, because especially if you work in an office type environment, you're gonna be around a lot of different people. And that means a lot of different types of people. And so if you're wearing something that's potentially really divisive or something that could be off-putting, then that's probably not gonna go over all that well. And another thing that you wanna keep in mind is a lot of times with office fragrances, you don't wanna go crazy heavy, okay? You don't wanna be that dude who comes into the office or your workplace, it doesn't have to be an office, just wherever you work, and everybody knows that you are there, even if they haven't seen you because they smelled you coming from 100 feet away. That's gonna have you labeled as the cologne guy, and that's usually not a positive thing. Now, I'm not saying wear so little that it's completely imperceptible, okay? But keep it within moderation, right? So Prada L'Homme, this one clean, classy, soapy, fresh, something like this would work well. Of course, there's a lot of other really big ones like Tom Ford Grey Vetiver that would do the job also. All right, on to our next type of fragrance, and that would be the date night fragrance. Yeah, date night fragrances, that's a big one, isn't it? And there are some different things that you would take into consideration when it comes to date night fragrances as well. Probably the biggest thing is, where are you going? What are you doing? Who are you going on the date with? How well do you know them, right? One of the biggest date night fragrances ever, or is considered one of the biggest, is the one Eau de Parfum from Dolce & Gabbana. And that one smells great. It has a really nice, warm, sexy, sweet scent profile to it. The performance is not huge as far as the projection goes, but that can actually be a positive thing. I've talked about this, a lot of people have talked about this, but with date night fragrances, a lot of times you don't necessarily want something that's gonna slap people upside the head, right? You don't want something that's gonna be oppressive as far as the performance goes. Because if you're going out to a romantic dinner, for example, you really shouldn't wear something that's super strong. That can backfire for a lot of reasons. I mean, it can overwhelm somebody, and if they're trying to enjoy their meal, your nose and your mouth are really connected. You don't want them tasting your fragrance. And it can also give you a lack of confidence when you want more confidence. Yeah, because if you have something on super strong and then you realize, oh, I sprayed on too much. Now I'm here, I'm at the restaurant, I'm at wherever, and I know that I have too much on. It's like just emanating off of you, and other people are being assaulted by your fragrance. It can make you feel like you're on an island where you're just like, oh God, why did I do this? So keep that in mind. Fragrances like this one would work really well. This is the Most Wanted from Azzaro. It's also got a really sweet, sexy scent profile. A lot of times when you look up date fragrances, that's what you're gonna find. A lot of scents kind of like that, with amber, vanilla, gourmand facets, usually warm spices like cinnamon or cardamom, stuff like that. And something like this does have strong performance. And you can wear this on a date where it's gonna be like a romantic dinner type thing. But do not spray on a whole heck of a lot. That can be a mistake that a lot of people make. They think always, at all times, more is better. It's not always the case. Spray on enough so that if your date gets close to you, they can pick it up, but don't spray on so much that from 25 feet away, they're picking it up. That's too much. Okay, what other type of fragrance do you need? A casual fragrance, an everyday fragrance, jack of all trades type of scent. The kind of thing that you can sit next to your door if you wanted to, and you could grab it, spray, and go, and it's gonna work at like 99% of the places that you find yourself. Something like myself from YSL. This one is massively popular right now, and the reason it is massively popular is because it works great for this. It's clean, it's easy wearing, it's fresh, it's got a touch of sweetness to it. You can wear it anywhere. It has no aspect, no quality to it that is going to offend anyone. Of course, this is also where blue fragrances would fit in for a lot of people. So Versace Yellow and Blue, Dior Sauvage, Bleu de Chanel, YSL Y, stuff like that. But you wanna have that type of scent, even if it's something that's super simple, that you can spray and go anywhere. And there are actually a lot of really good deals for fragrances like this from discounters. You know, stuff that doesn't cost that much. Coach for Men, for example, that would work really well. But you do want to have at least one fragrance that you can wear literally anywhere. After that, another thing that you need, special occasion or more formal fragrances. Now, with these, you're probably not gonna wear them quite as much as literally maybe anything else that we talk about, because it's in the name, right? Special occasions. Yeah, you don't pull it out all that often. And for some of you, that rings true for other things. Sorry, F's in the chat. For me, I'm going Dior Homme Intense. This is my jam. I love this. I would wear this all the time just to smell it. So to be fair, you can get a special occasion fragrance that you end up liking so much that you just make it a special occasion every day so you can wear it all the time. But a special occasion fragrance is probably not going to be as versatile as some of these others because they're a little more classy. You know, they're the type of scent that may smell a little out of place if you're just wearing it casually to like the grocery store or something, but if you're going to an event, oh, it fits in. Some Tom Ford fragrances would kind of fall into this category. Valentino Uomo Intense, you know, some of the gentleman fragrances, stuff like that. And this one is an iris forward fragrance, kind of a makeup-y aspect to it, but I love it. Up next, we go from formal to sport/gym fragrances. Now, I'm gonna put this one up here, Nautica Voyage, for a couple reasons. First off, it's cheap, like dirt cheap. You can pick that up from discounters for what, like 15 bucks, 20 bucks, doesn't cost much. And I mean, some people out there, maybe they wanna go with the more expensive fragrance, a more elegant fragrance for the gym or more sport type situations. When I say sport, I mean, really just kind of finding yourself out and about in the heat. Maybe you're doing something a little active, whatever. But I don't really necessarily want to like splurge on that if I don't have to. Because a lot of sport fragrances, or what would be considered sport fragrances, are not that expensive from discounters. And I'd want to lean more toward those. I wouldn't want to go spend, you know, $100+ to pick up a fragrance that I'm just going to be wearing when I'm sweating. Now, I'm not saying don't get a nicer one than Nautica Voyage. Like, you could totally get something that's really good for 40 bucks, 50 bucks, 60 bucks. I just wouldn't go, you know, way above that personally if I was like building out a collection. I think that there are more important places to put your fragrance money when you're starting out, or if you're just trying to like build your collection up a little bit more than it currently is at. So Nautica Voyage, something like that makes sense. But I do want to say here that to the gym, you know, you maybe don't even need a fragrance. Or if you want to wear one, just wear something super clean, very fresh, and don't go overly heavy. So again, something kind of like this, right? Something just easy peasy. Reason for that is, if you're at the gym, you're gonna be around a lot of people. It's gonna be a lot of body heat going on and a lot of people working hard, right? They probably don't wanna smell your fragrance, honestly. Like, if you keep yourself clean, wear deodorant, keep yourself washed, you know what I mean? No BO. That's probably the best move, honestly. You wanna wear a fragrance, that's cool, but don't go super heavy with it. Keep it real fresh, keep it clean. Because if somebody is like really pushing themselves and they are exhausted, they don't want you to come up there wearing some ultra strong fragrance that you've blasted on 15, 20 sprays, okay? They're already struggling enough as is. They don't need you to come over there and be like, hey man, can you smell my Tom Ford Noir anthracite? No, they're gonna hate you. All right, next up, evening fragrances or night out fragrances, which sounds like, oh, wouldn't that be a date night fragrance? Not exactly. I know we're kind of getting into semantics, but a date night fragrance, we're thinking something a little more romantic, a little more sexy, something a little more alluring, right? Night out fragrance is like you're going out on the town, okay? You're going out to a bar, a club, whatever. Whether it's going out with friends, going out by yourself, going out trying to meet people, that kind of vibe. So with this, I would probably suggest something that is a little bit more on the strong side. So with a date, it's not really overly necessary, but if you're going out and you're going somewhere, especially if it's somewhere with like cigarette smoke or something like that, or a really loud place, having something that can kind of help cut through the crowd a little bit, that can be beneficial. When it comes to compliments, a lot of times it's either fragrances that are very fresh or sweet that seem to work well, you know, one or the other. This is Coral Fantasy, part of the Valentino Uomo line. Uomo Intense would work really well also. So it has some of that freshness off the top, and as it dries down, you get a good amount of sweetness that comes out with this one. Big compliment puller and has pretty good performance, something like that. All right, the next thing that you need is seasonal fragrances. So talking fall, winter, spring, summer, that type of stuff. And this is when you start to really get into it a little bit more, where you're like, oh, this one would work really well, you know, in fall, because it has a touch of freshness to it, kind of like this, but it also has enough warmth that when it starts to get colder, you know, as fall starts to wrap up, you know, it has enough to push through the cold, enough oomph to it. So, you know, something like this, Artisan Pure, that's gonna work really well in summertime, right? And also spring, but, you know, during fall and winter, not quite so much. And then something like this, Scandal Le Parfum, you don't wanna wear that in spring or summer, but fall and winter smells great. So this is something, again, where you're just kind of fleshing out your collection when you start to get into seasonalities. And then if you're really into specific lines of fragrances, you can start looking at like which fragrances from the line work better in which seasons. So for example, Y Eau Fraiche, it's gonna be really good in the summer, right? But Y Le Parfum, not so much. The next thing that you need, and this is gonna be obviously different for everybody, a signature scent. So a signature scent is pretty much what it says. This is the fragrance where if somebody smells it, they think, ah, that smells like whoever, like you, right? Because you wear that fragrance so often that it becomes synonymous with you, your signature scent. Something like this might make a good one. It's not my signature scent. Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. It's got a nice classy vibe to it. That blue iris in there gives it really nice versatility. You can use that about any time. So something like that ticks a lot of boxes where you might look at it and go, oh, it'd be a pretty good signature scent. It's got good versatility. Performance is not bad. It's a good compliment puller, and it's decently unique. All right, we're almost done. We're almost done. The next one, a relaxing or subtle scent. So why would you want something subtle? Well, because, you know, sometimes it's actually better to have something that sits a little closer to your skin, because it's not always best to just have on the most of your fragrance as humanly possible. There are indeed times where if you're wearing way too much fragrance, it's a net negative for you instead of a net positive. And while fragrances rule, they smell a lot of different ways, they're super unique. There's a different kind of fragrance out there for everybody, right? Super cool. And while fragrances are awesome, and there are so many of them out there, that the ways that you can make yourself smell is almost limitless. When you talk about just how many fragrances in general that there are between designers, indie, and niche, and also like different layers that you can do about anything. You can smell like, I don't know, a million different ways, and that's awesome. That doesn't mean that in all situations at all times, you need to smell like a walking fragrance thermonuclear bomb. So sometimes keeping it subtle is the way to go. And also sometimes having a fragrance that's relaxing is a nice thing to have. For a long time, Gucci Pour Homme 2 was one of my favorites, but this one is also a favorite of mine, and that's Star Walker from Mont Blanc. Has a nice bamboo note. It's got a green, watery freshness to it, really chill, just a nice, pleasant scent. You know, some people will have like incense that they'll burn to put themselves in a good mood, or some people will go with essential oils and stuff. I like that. All right, last thing, a bold scent. That type of fragrance where, yes, if you want to announce your presence, you could wear that. Great performance, longevity, projection, that's what you're looking for. But I would say also take into account how appealing it is to people in general. Because yeah, you can get a bold scent that's very bold that absolutely everyone hates. And then why would you have it outside of just using it as a troll, I guess? Spray it on yourself and make people think that you smell awful. Haha, gotcha. I smell like trash and you hate the way I smell. Haha. You pulled one over on them, I guess. Good job. So something like this might work well. Man in Black from Bulgari, which smells similar to Spice Bomb from Viktor and Rolf, which also would work well. Leather, tobacco, spices, a lot of stuff going on there, booziness as well, but still works. So it's that type of scent that will announce your presence. It's gonna last a long time, but it does it in a way that people actually enjoy. So there we go, guys. There's some essentials, some ideas of things to flesh out your fragrance collection. Of course, like I said at the beginning, you don't have to get all that stuff. Like, you don't have to go through and be like, oh man, I thought my collection was pretty good, but I just realized I don't have a relaxing / subtle scent. I have to immediately go buy 5. Like, you don't have to do that. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I will see you all tomorrow with another fragrance video. We'll see you guys later.